Okay, so I got the knife back here, and I've already taken out the Torx bits. That's a T6 Torx bit. Yep, T6. And so I've already disassembled it and kind of looked through the parts already. It was a really dirty interior. Actually, probably should have filmed it, but it was no wonder that it was so grimy when I was trying to flip it open. There's a lot of manufacturing, dirt and debris. I guess not dirt, more like metal shavings, but it looks like black dust and stuff. So here's the screw that I did. The camera focuses. Anyway, so here's the Dremel pivot screw that I did. You can kind of see the slot. It's not the most perfect job. It could have been worse, I guess, too, but just I kind of don't like it. So I did take it apart, and it is pretty easy now. So it's kind of with a regular flat screwdriver, you can just pull that out. And I was actually surprised to see the thread was so little. I'll get to that part later. So after you take out all the Torx, what you want to do is get a bigger screwdriver. It was a little hard at first since I already disassembled it. Everything's a little loose. You just kind of stick it in there and pop it out. If you're concerned, you can wrap this with a t-shirt or something and then just kind of pry it open slightly. Then everything will pop off. So this is kind of what it looked like. The washer was on the B side, the side of the knife that said B on it, but I've already took that off, or the nylon washer. And then the phosphor bronze washer was on this side. But when I opened it, again, everything was just coated in kind of black soot. So everything's nice and clean now. So the one thing I wanted to clean off was the G10 because it looked like it was stained. And that's actually, once I got to this part, I was able to see the inside part of the G10 scale. And hopefully the camera's picking this up, but you can see that the staining is actually inside of the G10 resin matrix. So it's actually a part of the G10 scale. It's just kind of milled out. It looks like dirt. To me, it almost looks like somebody got injured, or this knife came used, and there's like dried blood already on the G10 handle scale. But that's actually inside of the G10. It looks kind of dirty. I think that is a manufacturing blemish, but for the cost that I paid for this knife, it's an acceptable. I'm willing to accept that. And again, for the cost of this knife, I am planning to use it a lot, so it'll most likely get dirty on its own anyway. So it's the same for this scale. It's like really a lot of artifacts inside of the G10 matrix. Okay, so again, with this pivot screw being a little messed up now because I had to slot it out to get the slotted screwdriver in it. I kind of compared it to some screws that I did have, hoping that I had a pivot screw that could replace this. And I do have some. So I had two screws on hand here. Here's two Allen head screws, two Allen machine screws. This one is I have it written down here, it's a 832 thread, which would have, it looks like it would have been suitable for this knife because I was so surprised to see that this thread was so little. But actually, the pivot is this pivot bolt here that's taking all the load when you're flipping the knife. But I would have thought it would have been like a thread like this. I just kind of had this here. And then this one is a 440 thread, which I thought was really close to it. But the actual pivot screw is just ever so slightly smaller than this 440 thread. And because this is from China, I then thought that this is probably a metric screw, where these are English units. This is probably a metric size of a machine nut, which was dead on. And I actually just so happened I had another pack of screws, which I just kind of had to decide which are metric. These are M3 threads. And you can see how long they are compared to this short one. So I did have to get a Dremel and cut it off to length, and just kind of cut it off to the same length. So I do have a replacement screw for the pivot. The one thing is that this hole here is so honking big that when you assemble the knife back together, you know, you can put the pivot screw in there that actually fits with the correct thread. But the M3 thread on its own is more of a precision screw. Can't even get it in there now. It's a precision screw, so it doesn't, this slotted thing doesn't even fit, you know, a standard screwdriver. You see there's a space there. So you actually need like a set of jeweler screws to even get into that thread, which is another reason why I was surprised that it's using this thin M3 thread. But anyway, you know, pretend I got it onto that threaded area, you know, the screw will just fall right through the hole anyway. So what I have here is a washer that's gonna kind of take that place, and you know, once I get it all together, it'll kind of look like that. And it's loose now, but once it's actually into that pivot barrel nut there, it should be pretty centered and straight. You know, it still might look a little ghetto, but you know, I like the look of that better than, you know, the look of this with, you know, some kind of Dremel slot in there. Anyway, I also saw a video by Jay Davis where he was playing with his green Tenacious, and he actually polished all the insides of his knife to get it nice and polished, including the phosphor bronze bushings and all the pivot and contact areas. So I'm going to actually try that and see how smooth this knife can be. Obviously, this knife only came with one phosphor bronze bushing. The other one's a Teflon. So you know, I'm going to polish this up. Obviously, I can't polish the Teflon, but we'll see how quick this action gets. But I'll do that in a following video so that this video isn't so extremely long. Just one last thing on quality. You know, again, for the price I paid, I actually don't even have the price offhand. Let me get that. So I looked it up. So I got this off eBay for $16.50 shipped from China. So again, very high value knife. This blade is actually really sharp. Let's see if I can just kind of show. Yeah, nice. Show a quick cut test. There's this spare piece of paper. So it is pretty darn sharp, and I was actually being very careful when I was playing with this. I should probably tape it up, but you know, whatever. I'm just doing this really quickly. $16.50 shipped. There's a few blemishes on it, some major blemishes. I wouldn't have been able to use this knife just out of box because of all the grime in there, so I've cleaned that out. Here's another blemish that's looks like some milling marks that this kind of went in. Looks like a CNC machine just kind of swept there. Didn't bother cleaning that up. But again, for $16.50 shipped from China, I'm not going to ship it back. You know, I'm not going to return this. So they kind of got you there. The seller has you there. You know, they know you're not going to ship it back. But even beyond that, even if I had bought this from, say, the local retailer here, I wouldn't necessarily return it just because it's such a high value blade, and HCR13 MOV blade steel is a decent blade steel. So I'm still very happy even beyond everything that was on this knife, but it does need a little bit of further work, and we'll do that in the following video. So check that out. See you there.